Welcome back to the Irregular Pioneer channel. I'm your host, Matt. Thank you for joining me for another video. So, on our way to waking up from the Jehovah's Witness doctrine, everyone has a different path. Different things wake people up. Different things help people to realize that the truth is not really the truth. And for me, one of those big bumps in the road was the 2018 Be Courageous Regional Convention. That convention really helped me to start questioning the doctrine and question really whether I was in the truth, as they call it. And it was for two specific reasons. So I want to talk to you about those two reasons and why it had such an impact on me. But the main reason why I'm doing this video is to give a little hope to people. You know, at this convention, I was an elder. I was on the service committee of my congregation. I was the parking overseer. I was the chairman on Saturday afternoon. I gave a talk on Saturday. Words that say as much good about one's character like the word courageous. In this symposium, we're admonished not to be cowards, but to build courage. But at times, we need an extra measure of courage. For example, early in the period of the Judges, Israel was harshly oppressed for 20 years by the Canaanite king.
In the afternoon, we will enjoy a feature film based on the Bible account of Jonah, followed by a stirring concluding talk. Be sure to get a good night's rest so that you can fully benefit from the final day of our convention. Before leaving today, please be sure.
And I'm listing all of that not to brag, but to point out I was deep into this cult. I was very deep into the religion. And even I was able to see through some of the propaganda that was being shown at this convention. So have hope for your friends, for your family members. I'm not saying extend too much hope and be unrealistic, but if an elder who was fully invested could start questioning things based on, just using his own critical thinking, then some of your family members, no doubt, will start waking up very soon. Because from that 2018 convention, I didn't last another year in the organization. So the first thing that really gave me some pause when I was at this convention was a video that was played. Now, I don't remember exactly what talk they played the video on, but it was a series of videos that was in a symposium of talks. And this particular video just made me feel like I needed to look around and say, is anybody else seeing this? Does anybody else see how ridiculous this is? This is clearly propaganda. And it's interesting because very often for someone like me, I was not able to sit down often at conventions. I was always working. I was always doing something here or there. Like I mentioned, I was the parking overseer. But I had an opportunity to sit down. I had my daughter on my lap. She was a little baby at the time, 8 months old. And, I'm just getting a chance to sit down and take in the convention. And for those people who are very familiar with working a lot during the convention, volunteering, that feeling of when you sit down, you're worried that you might fall asleep because you're so tired. But I was just glad to be able to sit down and, pay attention to the screen and, see the videos, listen to the talks a little bit clearer for a little bit. So I'm watching this video, and before I start talking about the video, if you've never seen it, here we go.
Matthew, how do things go with your group?
Very good. In fact, Sally's experience is one that stands out for me.
Hi. Would you like to make a donation to the marathon?
No, thank you. Shall I put it in the bag, or do you want to wear it now?
Oh, no, thank you.
What's wrong, honey? You got something against them?
Well, no, I don't have anything against him personally.
So what's the problem?
I respect that they have a right to choose their lifestyle, but as a Bible reader,
Excuse me. I'm a Bible reader too. I go to church, and our church is one of the biggest supporters for this marathon. So what are you trying to say?
Displaying courage now will help me display courage in the future. Well, I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and we believe the Bible teaches sex is for a man and a woman who are married.
Intolerant people.
Wow. That sure took courage.
That's what I told her. And I asked her to think about when the political powers destroy false religion.
Some video, huh? So, as I'm watching that video, like I mentioned, I'm looking around, I'm trying to quietly gauge how other people are taking in the video, but I know exactly how I felt as I was watching the video. I mean, first of all, as with most of Jehovah's Witness videos, the acting was not that great. But it was just so dramatic and so overdone. Obviously propaganda. But there were some specific things as well that I noticed even as I'm watching the video. Not just after I was able to go home and, evaluate it myself, but just watching in the moment, I'm like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. I've been in situations, when I was a Jehovah's Witness where obviously it was a little uncomfortable and, I wasn't sure necessarily how to handle it to make it go smooth as possible. But this situation that the sister is presented with really isn't that big of a deal. I mean, and they dramatized it so much. She was offered the little wristband. All she could have said was, "Oh, no, thank you. I'm not going to wear it." Listen, I don't know about where you from, but where I'm from, people ain't really getting in your business like that. They ain't really worried about, "Oh, why aren't you going to wear it? Oh, you sure?" Nah, man. I'm not going to wear it. It's cool. And, hey, worst come to worst, right? Oh, you could just put it in a bag and throw it away later. Give it a rest. Like, this whole dramatization was just so overdone. But let's get to the most explosive part. So you have this woman who is clearly an ally to the LGBTQ community, and she's, yelling at this sister, and she purports to be a Christian herself. So she feels that this sister's excuse of being a Christian just isn't good enough for her not wanting to accept this wristband. Now, again, people don't really do that. And I'm not saying that it never could happen, but that don't happen in real life. I'm sorry. I'm from New York City. Statistically speaking, there is a large community of LGBTQ people in New York City, and I ain't never seen no kind of situation like that. Again, not saying it's impossible, but again, propaganda. That's not how people in the world typically act. But of course, it's very easy to present worldly people in that manner. So, this whole idea that, not just Jehovah's Witnesses, by the way, Christians of all kinds do this, but this idea that it is so difficult to be a Christian and you are so persecuted. Give me a break. Like, seriously, give me a break. Now, there are countries in the world where it is very difficult to be a Christian, and it is literally illegal to be a Christian. I'm not discounting that. But if you live in North America, specifically in a place like the United States of America or Canada, give me a rest. Like just give me a break. Stop it. The vast majority of those countries are Christian. The vast majority of the representatives in the government are Christian. There are entire parts of government and culture that are Christian based. I mean, I'm from the United States of America. The vice president of the country is Christian, and he's one of the most well-known anti-LGBTQ people in the nation. So this whiny attitude that so many Christians have, oh, it's so difficult to be a Christian. Oh, the gay agenda is so hard against us. Give it a rest. Go cry to someone who cares. Because it's just not realistic. And that's exactly what was exhibited here in this representation of this video. It was just so overdone. It was so dramatic. And seeing how ridiculous it was for me was really an eye-opener. It was really something that made me question, what are they doing here? Why are they presenting this situation in this manner and being so dramatic as if, oh, well, she was so brave. Brave for what? Refusing to take a wristband by telling another woman that she was a better Christian than her? Okay. Like, that's, yeah, it was very easy to see that it was a lot of nonsense. And also, just on that point, it's worth mentioning that in the United States specifically, there are 28 states where it is literally not illegal to discriminate against LGBTQ people. Like, you could fire them for being gay. Doesn't matter. There's nothing that could legally be done to you from a state's point of view. You could refuse them housing. Nothing that could be done from a state's point of view. Federally, possibly, but from a state's point of view, there are 28 states where there is literally no legislation that protects people of the LGBTQ community. So again, in a country where Christians are very protected, this idea that it is so difficult to be a Christian and you're going to face so much persecution in these last days, it's not true. Again, more fundamentalist propaganda. So the second thing that really made me question things about the convention, the second really big thing, was the final video that was played at the convention. So in this video, and it's a music video, what they do is they're depicting the Great Tribulation and the end times where God's people will be persecuted and they will be tracked down by the authorities simply for being God's named people. And they're in this, looks like the woods in some remote area, and they're all gathered together. And what they do is they use these characters from some of the videos in the convention and dramas from the convention and past videos and dramas from previous years' conventions. And they're all gathered together, and you see these men with automatic weapons coming after them, you know, and they're all donned in military apparel, and they're coming after these weaponless Jehovah's Witnesses. And seeing that video literally made me cringe to the point where I had to walk outside of the building, not just in the lobby, outside of the building, because I was so embarrassed. In my mind, I'm thinking, like, worldly people are here. They can see this. They see how ridiculous this looks. it was amazing to me to see the level of propaganda. And if you've never seen that video, or if you've never seen clips of it, take a look here.
Doubt and fear surround me, the way ahead not clear. Through uncertainty you guide me, I know you're always near. Life may not be easy, but this I know is true. You're the God who's ever loyal. My life is safe with you. Jehovah, give me eyes of faith and help me always see that feeling fear is human. In my own strength, I'm frail. You have been my rock and refuge. Jehovah, give me eyes of faith and help me always see. There are more with us than against us. Courageous, let me be. Courage, give me courage. With courage I'll endure. Jehovah, give courage. Your victory is sure.
So yeah, I was just so embarrassed watching that video. Like I said, I literally had to walk outside onto Greenpoint Avenue. I was at the Queens Assembly Hall, and I'm just like, what is going on here? This is ridiculous. And it really made me question if the faithful and discreet slave class knew what they were talking about. And thankfully, you know, seeing this propaganda, seeing how overdone, how dramatic, how ridiculous it was, it really made me be willing to question things. It took away a lot of my confidence in the organization. And interestingly enough, when you talk to a lot of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and people who are PIMO, physically in, mentally out, they mention that the push to video has really made it obvious how silly some of the doctrine of Jehovah's Witnesses really is. And the JW broadcasts specifically, you know, it looks so much like televangelist television, the same kind of things that Jehovah's Witnesses ridiculed for years. And, you know, these videos and the dramas, they just remind you so much of what comes on these evangelical channels that it's almost impossible for Jehovah's Witnesses to say that they're separate from the world. In many ways, they are just like the world. And seeing these things helped not just me, but many other people start to wake up, start to question things a little bit more. Those questions that I already had, I was willing to ask more now. I was willing to question more. And so I invite you to tell me in the comment section, what were some of the moments that helped you to wake up? As I mentioned in the beginning, you know, it's always a road to waking up. Everyone wakes up for different reasons, and there are little things that will push people to start questioning a little bit more and more. So share with me in the comments the things that you thought helped wake you up. And please feel free to hit me up on social media. Feel free to email me and, you know, let's chat. Let's talk about it. So, thank you for joining me for another video. I'll be back very soon. This is the Irregular Pioneer channel. I'm your host, Matt. See you again soon, folks.